I'm Gwendolyn. Sitting here in the courtroom, watching the judge deliberate, I can't help but flash back to that fateful day in the conference room. It was like a storm brewing, and I was right in the eye of it. My boss, Isabella Thompson, looked at me with a mix of concern and confusion. "Why did you come in a taxi today, Gwendolyn? What happened to the car we gave you for your promotion?" Before I could utter a word, my husband, Ethan, who worked in HR, nonchalantly chimed in. "Her sister is using that car now." The silence that followed was deafening. It felt like time stood still, and in those few seconds, I watched my world start to crumble. Isabella's expression shifted, and I knew she was onto something. But let me rewind a bit and tell you how I got here. Ethan and I had been married for 6 years. His family was well off, with his parents being prominent businesspeople in the community. They were the kind of people who expected you to fit into their mold, and Ethan was always quick to remind me of the favors they'd done for us. 3 years ago, his parents had loaned us $50,000 for the down payment on our house, and that became a constant weapon in Ethan's arsenal whenever I tried to set boundaries. I'd always been passionate about my career. I'd worked my way up to become a senior solutions architect at the company, and last year, I was rewarded with a promotion and a beautiful silver Mercedes as part of my compensation package. But lately, things had been going downhill. 3 weeks ago, over breakfast, Ethan was sitting at the kitchen island, scrolling through his phone with one hand and munching on granola with the other. "My sister, Lily, her car is in the shop. She's got a big job interview on Tuesday. Do you think she could borrow your car for a couple of days?" he asked, not even looking up. I hesitated. The car was company property, and my name was on the registration. I was responsible for it. "I'm not sure, Ethan. It's technically company property, and I could be in trouble if something goes wrong," I said. His eyes flicked up from his phone, and I saw that look, the one that made my stomach churn. "You don't trust my family, do you? After everything they've done for us?" he said, his voice laced with guilt. I caved in like I always did. "Sure, she can take it," I said, feeling a knot form in my stomach. Lily was supposed to return the car after 2 days, but it turned into 3, then a week, and finally, it had been 3 weeks. Every time I brought it up, Ethan would get defensive. "It's just a car, Gwendolyn. Why are you being so materialistic? She's family, and family helps each other out." I started taking taxis to work, which was not only expensive, but also incredibly inconvenient. My team noticed the change. I was always late, flustered, and my assistant, Mia, would give me those looks, the ones that said she knew something was wrong. On that fateful Tuesday morning, I paid the taxi driver $15 and rushed into the building with just 8 minutes to spare for the leadership meeting. I got a text from Isabella. "Leadership meeting at 9. Conference room B. Don't be late." I made it to the conference room at 8:58 a.m. My team was already there along with Ethan, standing next to Isabella in his sharp suit. The meeting started as usual, but I could feel Ethan's presence, like an electric current in the room. When the meeting ended, Isabella said, "Gwendolyn, can you stay for a minute?" My heart sank. Ethan stood by the window, pretending to be engrossed in his phone, but I knew he was listening. Isabella closed the door and asked, "Why did you come in a taxi today? What happened to the car we gave you for your promotion?"
My throat went dry.
I was trying to come up with an excuse, but before I could, Ethan said, "Her sister is using that car now." His tone was so casual, as if he wasn't admitting to giving away company property without my permission. Isabella's eyes narrowed. "Is that so?" And this was all discussed and agreed upon. I took a deep breath and decided to tell the truth. "Actually, we never discussed it. Ethan told me Lily needed the car for 2 days, and that was 3 weeks ago. I've been asking for it back ever since." Ethan's face turned red. "Gwendolyn, don't do this here. This is a private matter." I stood up, my voice steady. It stopped being private when it involved company assets. The car is registered to me, and I'm liable for it. Lily has had it for 3 weeks without authorization, and every time I asked for it back, you made me feel like I was being unreasonable. Isabella's expression was firm. "Ethan, you need to leave. Gwendolyn and I need to talk. As the director of HR, you'll recuse yourself from any matters involving your spouse. That's policy. Ethan glared at me as he left the room, muttering something about me regretting this. Isabella sat down and looked at me. I need you to be completely honest with me, Gwendolyn. How long has Lily had her car? And is this the first time Ethan has used his position or your relationship to influence your professional life? I took a deep breath and started to tell her everything. The credit card Ethan had opened in my name without asking, which resulted in $4,000 in charges I didn't make. When I confronted him, he said he thought I'd want the rewards points. The vacation days I'd lost because he'd volunteered me for his mother's charity event without checking my schedule. And the performance reviews. I'd noticed that my performance ratings had been dropping over the past 2 years. My supervisor, Mark, had pulled me aside a few times, looking uncomfortable. Ethan thinks maybe we should rate you meets expectations instead of exceeds this quarter. He's worried about optics, he'd said. Isabella's expression grew serious. This is a serious matter, Gwendolyn. I'm going to retrieve your car today, and we're going to launch a formal investigation into Ethan's actions. I left the office in a daze. I called my friend, Sophie, and told her everything. She was furious. Gwendolyn, this is abuse. You can't let him get away with this. That night, when I got home, Ethan was waiting for me. He was pacing in the kitchen, his face red with anger. Do you have any idea what you've done? You've ruined my reputation at work, he shouted. I stood my ground. You're the one who gave away company property without my permission and sabotaged my career. I'm done being your doormat. Ethan's eyes widened. You're leaving? Over a car? You're being ridiculous. I looked him in the eye. It's not about the car. It's about the years of control and manipulation. I'm leaving, and I'm filing for divorce. Ethan's face turned pale. You'll regret this, Gwendolyn. You'll never be happy without me. I packed my bags and left, staying at Sophie's place. The next few weeks were a blur. The company investigation was in full swing, and Ethan's family was furious with me. His mother called me, crying and accusing me of ruining her son's life. His brother posted on social media, painting me as the villain. But I didn't let their words get to me. I focused on gathering evidence of Ethan's misconduct. I found emails where he'd pressured Mark to lower my performance ratings. I also connected with a former employee, Ava, who'd worked under Ethan. She told me how he'd made her work life a living hell, and she was willing to testify against him. The divorce hearing finally arrived. The courtroom was filled with tension. Ethan's lawyer, a ruthless man named Robert, tried to paint me as a vindictive wife who was trying to destroy Ethan's career. But I stood my ground. Catherine, my divorce lawyer, was amazing. She presented all the evidence we'd gathered, including Ava's testimony. The judge listened intently, and when it was my turn to speak, I told the court about the years of emotional and financial abuse I'd endured. After 2 days of deliberation, the judge issued her ruling. She awarded me the house, ordered Ethan to pay me $80,000 in compensatory damages for the career opportunities I'd lost, and denied his request for alimony. She also ordered him to reimburse me for half of the fraudulent credit card charges. As I walked out of the courtroom, I felt a sense of relief. I'd finally taken back control of my life. I'd lost a marriage, but I'd gained my self-respect. In the months that followed, I focused on my career. I was promoted to VP of Solutions Architecture, a position I'd always dreamed of. I also met a wonderful man, Daniel. He was kind, supportive, and he celebrated my success. One day, I ran into Ethan at a grocery store. He looked older, more haggard. I heard about your promotion. That's great, he said, his voice soft. I looked at him and said, thank you. I'm happy now. He nodded. I've been in therapy. I realize I wasn't a good husband. I smiled. I hope therapy helps you. I'm glad you're taking steps to improve. As I drove home that evening, I thought about how far I'd come. I was no longer the woman who would shrink into the background. I was taking up space, living my life on my own terms, and I was finally at peace.